We're here outside the Cole Messer here in Cologne for Gamescom 2023, and Dave, you've been playing a game that a lot of people on our channel are very excited about, Black Myth Wukong. Every time we put up a video of some gameplay, it does absolutely bananas numbers. Little monkey pumpy there.
Oh no, this is just the start of that energy.
It's just the start. Tell us about Black Myth Wukong.
The build had 3 bosses and then a sort of vertical slice of a more open level. I'll say now, the design of like everything looks amazing. Both in
gross as well.
Gross and amazing, both in aesthetics and sort of how the design is realized in function.
Yeah.
So like the first enemy was like some weird centipede isopod looking thing.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a boss like that in a game, everyone knows it's going to do the roly-poly bug attack and everything and it did a lot of that. Yeah. The second one was like a macaque that farted at one point, I think, which is like silly. You're a monkey fighting another monkey, but when you're in the weeds of it and like fighting through it, it feels visceral and intense, and he's throwing all these mad attacks at you, and then he just goes, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's almost like psychological warfare. He's like throwing you through a loop.
And it worked because he got the best of you a couple of times.
Yeah, that was the boss. I beat the first one. I was like, sweet, I'm getting a sense of this. The second one, I couldn't quite get through. And then the open sort of slice of the open world, that was really interesting because that showed off some more of like what could be like the mob enemies or you know the chaff that you sort of fight through to get to the boss, and that created a different feel, a different approach to fighting. Yeah. And I remember you asked when we were playing through it, like, oh, how does it feel? Does it feel like Sekiro? Does it feel like And of course, it's never going to escape the Souls comparison because it does have Souls energy. But I struggle to answer that because it has that energy, but also doesn't feel like anything within that sort of subgenre that I've played before.
Right, so it's got a lot of the characteristics though, right? So like very punishing combat.
Yeah.
Even the level that you spent some time exploring, it's like you get to a little
shrine where you rest at and everyone respawns. You have your like Estus flask-esque
Exactly.
thing.
So there are some like well-worn kind of Souls cliches that it is adhering very strictly to.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, because I didn't actually play it myself, but watched you play it, the thing that it reminded me the most of was Sekiro because of the intensity of the combat. There's not a lot of like blocking, there's no shielding and hiding behind stuff, right? It's all very in your face, you're parrying, you're dodging, all that kind of stuff, right?
And a lot of that is, it leans into that a lot. Instead of feeling like combat specifically, or Dark Souls, sword and board, intense combat, or like Sekiro's deflection combat, this felt more like a dance. In a weird way. A lot of the moves use the staff to make big movements, to get out of the way, or perfectly timed dodges will leave like a Wile E. Coyote-esque like smoke version of yourself that distracts the enemy. It feels much more fluid than anything in the genre that I've played. And that was something that took a few moments to get used to, but once that gelled and once you realized what the game is trying to lean into, it felt like really great. The speed of it, the fluidity, the combat focuses around your staff, but you're switching between stances based on what's going to be what's going to have more utility in that moment. Big sweeping attacks, powerful overheads. You're building focus to create these massive attacks, and it feels it's another one of those combats that's going to be quite easy to approach. But I think the ceiling's going to be quite high in terms of like when to time the best attacks, when to parry, when to, swirl your staff. And one of the things that really started to make it gel and shine for me was the use of the spells. We've seen before like some of the transformation ones, that was present. Very cool to transform into a massive flaming monkey at some point and just start swirling like a glaive. But the one that like I found most rewarding, most satisfying was much more minor. It was just, I think it was just called stone form. You turn into stone, but if you manage to do it when the enemy is mid-attack, you obviously like glance off your stone form and it creates a big opening. Yeah. That, the timing of that, the reward of that felt so good.
That's a mechanic almost exactly borrowed from Mortal Shell, which came out a couple of years ago, which again is like, very Souls DNA sort of centric. Do you think it's kind of like, is this turning into a kind of grab bag of lots of different genre elements, do you think?
I think, a lot of Souls games are that grab bag, or like the Souls bingo of, it's got a stamina bar, it's got rolling, what makes a Souls-like a Souls-like? And there is a lot of that there. There is going to be a lot of familiar things, but there's also a lot that's unique, a lot that makes it, have its own charm. And some of that comes from spells where you pluck a bit of hair out, throw it into the air, and 4 monkeys spawn.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. That looks cool. It's got like a lot of utility. It's useful, but it adds to the flavor of the game. I think, I want to see more of like the story and the broader setting and the world, but it's also, that is also unique. We've not seen anything quite like that. It's great to see, different environments, different settings, different stories being told within these games. So I'm super excited about that. Obviously the design, the aesthetic, the monkey business. Going from seeing a lot of Black Myth Wukong and just getting excited about what we see when it pops up, to playing it has done a lot for my excitement and intrigue now that, I can feel it, I can see the mechanics, I can get a better grip of what they're going for. And for a Soulsborne fan and for just like, an action game fan, it feels great. It looks amazing. That's something that everyone, was saying as each, slice and each gameplay, each bit of gameplay is coming out. Oh my God, this looks amazing. And it does. So yeah, it's left me way more intrigued and way more excited about actually seeing the game and getting proper hands-on with it now.
Paws on with it. Well, Dave, if you're watching something on YouTube and you want to know when Black Myth Wukong is going to come out, are there any channels that you should subscribe to?
I think GameSpot is a pretty good one.
Right, gamespot.com. Sounds good. There's also going to be more from Gamescom here in Cologne on GameSpot, and we'll see you next time.